Hey friends, have you ever been in a sandbox or played in the sand on a playground before? Our Bible story today is about what happened when Saul and David were out in the sandy desert. Before we begin, let's sing together.
So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am with you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not fear, for I am with you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I will strengthen you and help you. Isaiah 41:10.
This week's big idea is we can show mercy to others. Mercy is when you show love, care, and kindness to someone. Let's watch our Bible video to see how David showed mercy to King Saul.
Hey kids, do you have a favorite story? What is it? Some of my favorite stories are about people who are brave and save the world from bad guys. But do you know what's even braver than punishing our enemies? Showing them mercy. Mercy is being kind even when we think the other person doesn't deserve it. Like what the Bible says a man named David once did for a man named Saul. David was chosen by God to be the next king of Israel. The problem was, Israel already had a king, Saul. But instead of following God, Saul made a lot of unwise choices. So God decided to make David king instead. But this made Saul jealous of David. Before long, he began to plot to kill David. So David ran away. Saul ran after David, but he couldn't catch him. One day, Saul heard that David was hiding somewhere in the wilderness, so he gathered an army to go after him. But when he got there, Saul didn't see David anywhere. So he went in a cave to, well, this is embarrassing, use the bathroom. Would you believe that the cave Saul entered was the very same one David and his men were hiding in? Finally, David had a chance to kill Saul before Saul killed him. David silently crept through the cave towards Saul, and when he got to him, he cut off a corner of his robe. After Saul left the cave, David came out and said, "Look, Saul, I could have killed you, but I showed you mercy instead." Saul was shocked. He knew that David would be king someday, and that he would be a good king that followed God. He asked David to always take care of his family, and David promised he would. And you know what? Just like David showed Saul mercy, we can show others mercy too.
King Saul did not like David. King Saul was trying to hurt David. King Saul and his men were looking for David in the desert. When King Saul went into a cave, David and his men were there hiding. But King Saul didn't see David. David cut off a piece of King Saul's robe. David chose to show King Saul mercy. David could have hurt Saul, but he didn't. That is mercy, when you show love, care, and kindness to someone else. When King Saul heard David say that David had cut his robe but did not hurt him, King Saul cried. King Saul decided that David did something very kind when David showed him mercy. Who did David see in the cave in the desert? David saw King Saul. When David chose not to hurt King Saul, David chose to show mercy. David could have hurt King Saul, but he didn't. That is mercy. We can show mercy by being kind, even when we don't want to. I have 2 activities that you can do with your families today. David and his men were hiding from King Saul. So the first activity is to play a game of hide and seek with your family. The next activity that you can do is to build a cave like David hid in, either out of blocks or Legos, or you could even make one out of blankets and sheets, kind of like a fort. Doesn't that sound like so much fun? Did David hurt King Saul? No, David didn't hurt him. What did David do? David cut off a piece of King Saul's robe. Did David show King Saul mercy? Yes, David could have hurt King Saul, but he didn't. David showed mercy. We can show mercy to others too, just like David did. See you next time.